Hello, everybody. This is James Diboe, Discovering, dedicated to original peoples. As always, we got two special guests on. We got Raz Congo and Curtis Watts. Welcome to the show, my brothers.
Yes, bro. Yeah, man. Nice to see
Big
everybody.
thanks.
Great,
Nice,
great.
All,
Curtis.
yeah, man.
Yes, James. We're not playing no games. Curtis, we have to have a purpose, you know.
Yeah,
You know
man.
what I mean?
That's
Respect
it.
it.
Well, we got a few people who definitely can hit some bars up here. And
Yeah.
where we're going to go today, the topic today anyway, is where did we come from? Now,
Mm,
what we mean by where did we come from, we know that from the scientific research starting in Africa, but
mm.
we going beyond that. We going before, you know what I mean? So we're going to go around and we're going to see where the different meeting of the minds, how we're all going to connect, and what do we have in common, and also our differences, but the differences being able to come together on this kind of topic, open-minded discussion, basically. So we'll start with you, Raz. So from what
Big
you
thanks, bro.
from whether you what you've researched or even your imagination
Hmm.
or whatever it is,
Yeah,
where do you
man.
see that humanity came from?
Well, like when it comes to life,
Mm,
I just see life, you know what I mean? And and and
Yeah,
all
man.
that is living, right?
Mm,
Is like all connected, Because we know that it's all whether we're dealing with carbon-based life forms, gaseous life forms, spiritual life forms, other dimensional life forms. So what we have to say is this type of reasoning we're having will make us even look at what is our humanity. What is our humanity? But you're saying where did we come from?
yeah.
And wherever we're coming from, that's where we're going because we rule time and space. And we could actually, I actually see it as we're multidimensional beings and we
Yes,
exist in
bro.
many different forms, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah, I
over to
believe
you,
that.
Curtis, you know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah, bro.
Curtis.
Keep it rolling. I don't want to talk too long, because the man
Yeah.
vibes are strong, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
man. We just go around anyway. Curtis, you
Mhm.
tell us from whether it's what you research, your
Mm.
imagination, or whatever you
Yeah.
feel inside, brother. Where do we come
So,
from?
so yeah, we're going with that whole thing of manifesting it into the flesh, from an energy. I mean, that's been
Mm.
scientifically proven. I know a lot of people talk to me about like the secret and all that, but personally, that actually was a bit of a bootleg on a very old book from the 1960s called The Tao of Physics.
Mhm.
And so they talked about that. So, where this double slit experiment where they have like the barrier with two slits in it.
Mm.
And they wanted to know whether they used to argue all the time in the late 1800s, early 1900s, is light actually a wave or a particle? So
Mhm.
so then so they put these two slits in and they just shone a torch on it, and it went into what you call a wave cancellation pattern,
Mhm.
where there's
Like a
positive and negative.
spiral. Like, was it like a
Yeah, it's
spiral
like
form of
like
light?
yeah, sort of like archways. You
Yeah,
get
man.
me?
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? And
Almost
then
reminiscent of the DNA structure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, the double
Well,
helix.
it's interesting. I mean, we're going to get more deeper into that as we go on, but we're just scratching the surface for now. We're not going to go head
Mm.
first right in.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
like, I thought to bring this topic up because I don't think about these things sometimes, especially like there's different times we're able to tap into things in our lives. Sometimes we have this certain extra creativity, this extra energy, or we're just in alignment with something,
Mm.
universe and beyond the physical through to the spiritual. And I can definitely see it that there's higher dimensions out there, and we are a part of it. Now, to come into physical, this physical, I mean, I'm just looking at all the elements and the ingredients of this universe to make this physical body. So, scientists, yeah, they say things like, coming from the water, when we were like this bacteria, and, then it grows into this, and then we coming out the
Mm.
water, and then
Like an
now
amoeba. Yeah.
I don't really dive too much into we came from the stages like ape like man and things like that
Mm.
because I don't think proven enough. Science proves a lot of things, but I don't think it proves enough that we came from the apes,
No, these things are
if you know what I
theories,
mean.
brother. Yeah, the theories,
Mm.
James. And even by
Yeah.
saying it's a
Yeah,
theory
yeah,
means that it's not a hard fact.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
And I
man.
think that's very important when we say, well, this is facts. Like we know that energy can't be destroyed,
Yeah.
or so when people, the same with what Raz you said before about, where you start and where you end is pretty much the same place, you know.
Yeah, man. Because what we see as death is only a doorway to rebirth. But they never taught us these things. They
Mm.
wouldn't want to. They didn't want us to have our wings. So, like a lot of these things on a quantum physics level, like Curtis
Mm.
is saying, has been proven. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what they're saying and what the ancients were saying was the same thing.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah,
So
man.
this James Webb Telescope, I think I've spoken about this before, but it's like the most powerful
Hmm.
telescope, and it's been looking at black holes, like distant black holes and distant galaxies and stuff. And they don't really, they used to think that galaxies start small and just expand bigger, but there's these
Hmm.
galaxies that just happen to exist like only a few 100 million years after what they call the Big Bang, which they
Hmm.
don't even really call it that anymore, but because they've got Roger Penrose and all of them who's at
Yeah.
the top of it
So
all, and he's like,
yeah.
you know
So
what I'm saying?
it was interesting you said before about that book, The Secret, because I brought this up a few times,
Mm,
and I always like looked at it. This is a new age thing, which
it
is
is.
trying to branch off the real thing. Sort
Mm,
of like everybody seems to put the spin on whether it was, you have the original Bible, and then you've got all these
yeah.
different versions. You know,
Mm,
new age things. I think there's a lot of, and even you see on these YouTube channels, I'm sure you've gone through them where people talk about this manifestation. Now,
mm.
manifesting, like some of it I can relate to, but some of it, it's just a pile of crap. Like as if you just
That's,
think,
yeah, that's what
I
I'm
want this
saying.
car, and it appears, and it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
require any knowledge
You,
or
you,
any effort
you
or
know what, Jay?
research. You know what I'm
You
saying,
know
brother?
what? Yeah, I think it's interesting you say that because manifestation does work, but it doesn't work like a two-dime hooker on the corner. It
Yeah.
works in the sense where everything that we see in our reality was once an idea on a two-dimensional. It became three-dimensional. And when we're talking about dimensions, there's like fourth and fifth and continuous higher
Mm,
dimensions, and we're in the so-called third. That's what they tell us, third
yeah,
dimension. So
yeah.
manifestation does work, but in
Mm,
order to make it work for us, we have to view it from a deeper level, right? And that's why we're in these debates now, because it's each one teach
yeah.
one.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? But they're spoiling the essence of what is being like where that teaching is coming from. They've repackaged it in a way just to sell commercialism, and basically everybody wants money. Like if money, like that's the trap that they've had us all in with this man-made thing called money. You know what I
Mm,
mean? But
yeah, yeah.
that's for another thing. But we're locked in. You know where they say, "Oh, you're only using 10% of your brain." Well,
Yeah.
with these
Yeah.
phones and everything, it must be
Eh,
3%. But the people who have been telling us these things are using 100%, and that's why they're, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
we're
to
the
be fair,
workers.
yeah, nobody ever really actually said we use 10% of our brain.
Hmm.
Einstein, because everyone used to ask him lots of philosophical questions,
Hmm.
said we only use about 10% of our potential. That's what he
Yes.
said. He didn't
Yeah.
say you can only use 10% of your brain, and that's
Hmm.
just become this like meme thing
Mm.
in
I
culture.
think
But
I think I'll
let's
rephrase it. It's like mind in it, really, more than brain. 10% of your mind, because it's like we could
well, your
call it
potential, yeah,
10%.
man.
Its potential is all that, and it's like
Mm.
they put the locks on it. But go on, Curtis.
So this double split, right? This
Mm.
it's in the Tao of physics from decades ago. And just briefly, because I know we're going to shut down and they come back in, so I want to get this in while we're still topical on it. So what happened was, right? You had this weight thing, like they said. So then one of them, an electron is equivalent to a photon, and so he fired electrons independently through these slits in the cardboard thing that they had, right? And they expected them just to just randomly go into this photographic paper behind the slit and watch each particle interact because it's photographic paper, so it interacts with it. So then what they figured out was that basically, well, it's not figured out to be honest with you, but this is the only way everybody who's the highest minds in this kind of stuff, like quantum physics and all that, what they didn't realize is that these particles were forming themselves independently into their piece of the puzzle in a wave pattern. It's like saying I'm a piece of a jigsaw and I'm going to go and land there and wait for someone to come and patch that up. So what they call it is, they say that subatomic particles are in a potential wave. They call it a wave potential, and it stretches right across the universe because it's got no rules or anything like that. But once you observe it, or should you say measure it on this paper, on this photographic paper, it becomes a physical thing. So it's like you were saying about manifesting things. So everything that our bodies are made of on the smallest level is actually a potential wave, which you could call a spirit. You could call that a spirit.
Well, you know what, brother? You know what you said before about the 10% using our brain, and you were saying that's what we're told, Curtis.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because it's like DNA. You've heard of junk DNA?
Yeah, for real.
Now, this junk DNA, like, it's almost to speak about it as if it's not needed and it doesn't matter, then, you know, but there's a whole lot more to this so-called junk DNA. So if we go back to, like, I mean, we can look at whether it's Kemet, and also it's not just only about Kemet, it's all about, it's because of the documentation, and it's still standing in all of Africa and the world. And, you know, traveling, you know, me and anyone who travels, you know what I'm saying, you'll see, especially meeting indigenous types of peoples, they seem to all have much more of a similar story and in common with one another, you know, about every living thing having a soul, you know, the connection with nature, the oneness, you know, everything is interconnected.
Atomic level,
it's not
James.
accidental. It's not accidental.
Curtis mentioned it was talking about photon, and I'm a layman, they say, but I mean, I lay with man. But each to their own. Each to their own, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is, right, is that we're dealing with atomic level now. And so therefore,
subatomic.
you know, and subatomic. So basically, right, you're talking about waves, right? Waves, vibrations. And when you really think about it, everything within us, like the visual cortex, the eyes, it decodes these waves into what we see as a physical reality, this reality. And yeah, we have examples of this when you talking about the most powerful telescope and you have the most powerful microscope. And you know, you'll see life forms when you look through that you can't see with the naked eye. And that's even in the physical reality. And we're dealing with different frequencies, different dimensions, you know what I mean, bro, as well. So yeah, it's all very interesting. James, I cut you there. I didn't mean to, you know. It was just that you touched the raw nerve and we did have to observe, you know.
No, sometimes when you get that brainstorm or that, sometimes it has to be said because we can lose our thoughts, you know. There's so much going on in that. But, you know, I'm loving this anyway. Yeah, so some of these discussions are interesting anyway. And we're going to get back to discussing some of these topics anyway. And where we are now, I feel like we're floating in science, but nothing wrong with that because we're floating in spirituality, we're floating in all things anyway.
Existence,
consciousness,
well,
expanded
science
awareness.
As a word, right? I mean, I can only go like etymologically to like Latin, and scienter means to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all it is, it's a case of just looking for knowledge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Real. Yeah.
That's
sorry,
all we can do.
There's another thing as well, just before we were just having a discussion. The book, The Secret, anyway, yeah, right? Because
yes, I am.
Reason why I want to touch on this again is because so many people are gravitating towards this. Like, life's a simple task. So I look to myself for like all these people who do have the book, The Secret, are they all wealthy? How come they all can't manifest? And
it's not much of a secret if we all know it.
Yeah, and then I had a guy on my show from out the States called Rod Hayes. Interesting brother. And I asked him about The Secret. He said he read it 7 times, and he said he can't find the secret.
I hear you, bro. No, I
Yes,
tell you,
but
bro.
All these pages,
yeah,
and the secret's
Yeah.
not
yeah,
there.
man.
What about the half that was never told? They're not giving us the full 100, and it's a
Nah, of
commercial
course.
venture, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just a commercial venture, you know what I mean? And they're not really promoting anything truthful or opening any doors. It's just elitism
Do
on
you know what?
steroids,
You know, one of the
stolen
guys,
knowledge.
because he didn't just write the book, he took people out into the desert and told them to like lie there under these like canvases and stuff like that. And loads of them died of hypothermia in the night. This is the guys who put the secret. It wasn't just one person. It was like
A
it's
group.
a cult. As they always are, it's a cult. It's a cult.
It's probably a CIA operation,
Yeah,
bro.
man, a psyop. It's a psyop.
Infiltrating. It's a psyop, bro.
Yeah, man,
You know
for
what I mean?
real. They
That's
don't
what they
know that
turned
there.
hip hop. It's funny we were talking about hip hop, but they
Hip hop.
turned hip hop into a
Mm.
psyop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Exactly.
man.
Now,
Yeah.
interesting thing, we've been talking about where did we come from and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, you heard all sorts of things. I'm sure, I don't know if you've heard of Billy Carson.
Yeah, man. Great guy,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. Now, I don't have to believe it 100%. There's certain things I can relate to. He's deep on the Sumerian tablet, for example.
Yeah.
And he
They're a
speaks
wonderful
about
read. They're a wonderful read, bro.
he says that
And
how we're created by
by
the
the
Anunnaki.
Anunnaki,
Now,
by
like I say,
Enki Benki.
like I say, we don't have to like
Thank you.
believe it,
You know what I mean,
but
bro?
we don't have to believe it. But at the same time,
No,
I'm always
it's a truth.
open to discussion.
But so I think we all are. And we check it. We said, where did we come from? And we touched up on like so-called Darwinism, because that's what it is, evolution theories, right?
Yeah.
And creational myths. But really, if you think about it in terms of life being seeded, right, on this planet and the universe, there's countless permutations of how that came about.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So the story of like the Gilgamesh and all that, and the Sumerian tablets, the Emerald tablets, and like as a youth, I grew up reading comic books, and a lot of good things I read. I learned about mathematics and philosophy, and you know what I mean, sciences and that, right, in the comic books and that. And when you read those things, as you can see where a lot of it's grafted in modern day religions, So,
of course,
it's just basically, and these people, like, you've met with the Dogon, James, and these people were talking about these entities. The Dogon are talking about the same entities. The Zulu, which means worker man, Adama, Zulu, right? They've got the same mythology, Brodgen, right? Of reptilians from different dimensions, you know what I mean, and all these type of things. Now, I'm open-minded, we don't need to jump on anything, but we're just aware. It's just a notion or a theory. It's nice to be aware of these things. You know what
because
I mean?
you don't have to like sometimes I've had discussions with certain type of people who are not open-minded or nothing, and they just say, you're madman, or something like that, and just try to totally write that off. Even like you got this flat earth thing that some people are flat earthers, some people think it's a sphere, some say round, but I'm comfortable with whatever it is. It doesn't even make a difference but at the same time,
that's why I always ask them. I always say, why do you need the earth to be flat? Like, why do you desire to believe that? Why?
Yeah.
Well, because I don't like being lied to. Yeah, but still,
I've got
I've
got something for that, I've got something for that, right?
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you, right? This is where I'm coming from. Like, whether it's flat or round, right? Right now we dip on it and we have to do something with my life on it. God, this is where we are, right? But you see, like, I've never been out of this sphere to see. Do you know what I mean? So
that's
my open-mindedness is like, not that I necessarily have to be in a rocket going up there to look down to see it's round or not, because if it's flat like a pancake, it will still look round. So everyone's a winner.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think on all these stories on Antarctica?
Antarctica.
I mean,
yeah,
there's different stories, by the way. I mean, when we say okay, one is the pyramids there and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Another one
yeah,
is
yeah.
this kind of glass kind of wall or whatever, and you can't get through it. You'll smash like the plane will smash into it, and then there's
Yeah.
this,
Oh,
everyone's trying to get there, man. It's deep.
they're talking about uncharted parts of the earth.
Yeah.
Because,
Mm.
but let's be honest, right? We're good fellows, we're not bad people. And we
Mm.
know that we grew up in school, education, and they were showing us maps of the world. And later we found out that it was greatly distorted. Yeah.
Mm.
The
Yeah, yeah,
maps
like the
and
people's
certain
projection in
continents
it.
were
Yeah.
shrunk. So if these people can do that, right, you can do a lot of things, you know. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I say, right? It's like I've heard of these things, right? I've never been there, bro. Like, we've been to a lot of places, right? And we want to go to a lot more.
Mm.
So we like to have a working knowledge of it and meet people from these places,
That's
so-called
right.
indigenous people, earth
Yeah.
people, because we're
Mm.
earth people, right? So
Mm.
if I've never been to Antarctica, so I wouldn't write it off and say, yeah, madman, because no, the madman would say, calling the next person a madman without
Yeah.
thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we've heard these things, and at one time, Antarctica probably was a tropical paradise. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Old
what are ice
maps.
ages? Look at the ice ages, right, bro? What is an ice age? Is that when the North Pole moves? Is it,
Mm.
you know what I mean?
But
Who knows?
we're still in an ice age because there's glaciers and
That's a
there's
good point.
yeah, man, we're
That's a
still in
good
an
You
ice
know
point,
age.
bro.
what? You're right.
That's a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting you said that, Curtis, because someone mentioned that about talking about Canada and talking about
Mm.
Siberia and North
Yeah.
Pole, South
Alaska and all
Pole.
that.
Greenland,
Yeah. Yeah.
Greenland.
Greenland. Yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so that's
Mm.
interesting. Like, it is Antarctica and then uncharted parts of the earth, like you were saying, Raz. What about the ancient Egyptians? I mean, there's the whole world we can talk about, but why I bring up Kemet is because of the documentation still standing. And I don't think we can find more documentation outside of Egypt. I
Well,
mean, if there is, I know you got the
There
Sumerian
is. There
tablets.
is.
there is a lot, there's a lot of artifacts and there's a lot of temples and big buildings and all
Mm.
sorts of things in this world that predate history.
Yeah,
And like they don't want to make, you know what I mean? They don't
Yeah. I don't
highlight
want to
it.
make it public. Yeah.
yeah.
They don't want to
Because
make it public, bro,
don't get me
because it would
wrong.
blow everything. It would blow everything,
Mm.
wouldn't it, bro?
Yeah,
Because we're talking
Yeah.
about like where did life come from? And we're talking about like most people lean towards or forced to lean towards evolution, Darwinism, or
Mm.
creational mythology, if you want to call it that, right? But
Mm.
mm,
like you check it right. We could have de-evolved. What happens if we de-evolved and we got relegated in our soul, body, and mind from a higher realm? I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, of course, of course. Well, it does go back to the dimension thing, like this 3D space that we're in.
Mm.
Now, we're looking at why I brought up Kemet before, right? Is because I know what other parts of Africa preceded
Mm.
Kemet before it. Sudan's pyramids are older,
Mm.
and not to go into too deep into it, but these Egyptians now, the knowledge, we did a podcast actually on one time, Raz. It was called Advanced Knowledge. And we were saying that, okay, how come these people can't build these things now?
Mm.
What was we dealing with like some
James,
high
I think them
dimension?
pyramids are older than the ones in Sudan, you know.
Well,
I d-
the scientists
Yeah,
say that Sudan are older, so they say. So they
well, I
say, but
mean, yeah,
then,
yeah, yeah.
but
And
we've got
and
to
and
look at
and the
Robert
ones
Laval
in
and places like that, water erosions.
of course, the ones in Kemet are much larger as well.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
definitely.
Um, well, you see, it's hidden knowledge, isn't it, bro? It's
Yeah.
stolen knowledge. I mean, we're walking. Well, you're not. You're called Diboe. You've got your African name there. But
Mm.
my surname is Nichols, so that's sugar plantation business. And I'm
Yeah.
Yeah,
still
man.
we're
Yeah.
walking around. A lot of us are still walking around like that, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you said three-dimensional reality, and we're talking about the atom and the nature of the atom. You have
Mm-hmm.
the proton, the neutron, and the electron. You
Mm.
know what I mean? 3D hard way, bro. And
Yeah.
an empty space in between. and yet everything is made up of that. Do you know what I
It's
mean?
mostly empty space, isn't it? Like it is
Mostly, bro.
matter, yeah, man.
Yeah,
Do you know
man.
where? Can I indulge you on some like about life forms? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I might have said this before, but like it occurred to me what I was thinking: is the sun and stars and planets,
Alive.
right? Are they living creatures,
Yes,
living
yes, they
beings,
are.
man?
Yes, Mother
Yeah,
Earth.
yeah, yeah.
All of them. All
Every
of them, bro.
every 11 years or so, between 11 and 12 years, the sun spits out all these solar flares. Right. Now, if you were a galaxy with a mind that could monitor that happening,
Hmm.
yeah. So that could be a version of sound waves. That's why you get the aurora, like clockwork in Norway and
Yes,
all that. And then you see
yes.
this year when the aurora was in Scotland and everywhere, it was all over the place. Do you know what I mean? But listen to this, right? You know the way I'm sitting here talking, right? I've got my desk in front of me, got my microphone. There's loads of bacteria, right in
Yes,
front of me.
of
Yeah.
Yeah.
course.
Right.
Billions and
I can't
billions.
see them. I don't know they
Exactly.
exist. Yeah. Do you know what I
Yes,
mean? I only know because of the science behind it. We've got microscopes and things like
yes.
that. Right. But imagine that thing, right? Imagine a bacteria that only experiences it. It's got no ears, no eyes. You know what I mean? So it's not like us, but it monitors its environment to see if there's food for
Intelligent.
it. Yeah, it's got some intelligence to it because
Mm.
what
It's
that's
consciousness, isn't it, bro?
so
If
Yeah.
let's
you,
say
if
one little bacterium here
yeah,
right in
man.
front of me out of billions of them in front of me
Yeah,
on this table, right? And it's experiencing a storm because there's going to be moisture coming out of my mouth, there's going to be sodium, there's going to be
yeah,
sugars, there's going to be dead cells and everything coming out of my mouth and
yeah.
raining down on it. Now, how is that different from the sun shining on us?
Of course, of course.
You know what I'm
It's
saying? So like to that, it doesn't know we're a living being like itself.
Not
It
all
doesn't perceive
bacteria
us.
is bad.
But yeah, of course. But what I'm saying
Yeah.
is that regardless of which
the one,
bacteria it is,
the ones that come from the hood.
yeah.
They're okay.
The
Yeah.
roadie ones, man, the
Yeah.
roadie ones, isn't it?
And
Yeah,
Yeah,
then,
but what I'm saying
yeah.
is, so that the way we experience heat and radiation from the
yes,
planetary bodies and all that. Well, that's the same as that's experiencing an onslaught of
it's all li it's
chemicals
all
coming
living
from my
forms.
body.
Yeah,
So
man. It's all
and I wouldn't look up at you and think, oh, that's a big being, that's a big living being like me. It
no.
wouldn't think that. Do you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't see what it is. It sees as some kind of mountain or something like that, or a planet or something like that.
Yeah,
Because it's,
man.
you
But
know
look
what I'm
at,
saying? Do you know what it's
well,
called?
yeah.
I've spoke about this, James.
Perspective, like
It's
Yeah.
called
perspective.
it's called an umwelt. I spoke about
Yeah,
this
yeah.
in one of our previous podcasts. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
an
Mm.
umwelt, and what it means is how each species of animal experiences what we call reality.
Yes.
Because a rattlesnake, for example, can see like predator does. It can use like heat. It can get. It's got these things, hasn't it? That the heat.
Senses.
Yeah, these sensors, heat
Brilliant.
sensors. Think, you know what I
Brilliant.
mean?
That, because I was kind
Yeah,
of come to something similar there, Kate. It's interesting.
yeah.
Yeah. See, like the attributes of different animals, insects, or whatever.
Mm.
Now, us, yeah, here's an example. I know everyone's had times now where you've either thought about something or you've got a feeling about something and it happens.
Yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
not dealing with no manifestation or nothing like that. I'm dealing with kind of we're able
For
to
a for
we can
a
decode
sense.
we can
Yeah, full
decode
sense. Yeah, man.
decoding decoding things whether outside our visible light or whether seeing or not seeing it. Like,
Yeah.
but let
Yeah.
the more the unseen I'm dealing with. And like, where does this come from? Like I know we got intuition and things like that, but
Yeah.
when you just like you're sitting there, someone calls your phone, you think
Mm.
about a person example. Next minute you just call your phone, you might not have seen these people for donkey's years. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Just them to call you when you just thought about them. And even
Yeah.
like, for example, when we said like everything has to be a thought to begin with.
Yeah, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's
The thought,
consciousness, bro.
yeah, yeah,
Consciousness.
yeah,
And that's the whole see like that connection.
yeah.
It's like the telephone system. This is a spiritual system, electromagnetic, and our thoughts give off that energy just like Curtis was talking about feeding the bacteria with all the saliva and sodium and
Mm.
all that, right? So we're all dependent, interdependent on each other. right?
Mm.
Because it's the cosmos, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And like what's being said here is a great thing because it's not like we're going to unravel the mysteries of life, but
yeah.
like it's you don't have reasonings like this every day with everyday people. Do you know
People
what I
gonna
mean?
get
So,
into arguments in it, or
well, you
like,
know what I mean?
or big
I mean,
disagreements,
like,
basically. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So it's just good to be here to be able to exchange that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
like
for real.
when you look at like when we see water, heat, sun rays, all these things, the wind, it's all one and the same. It's all consciousness, and that's what's in us.
yeah,
And when that consciousness leaves us, we're leaving behind the corpse. That's no longer us because what made us was the life force. That life force isn't there no more, but that life force can't extinguish. That's quantum physics again. Energy can't die. Do you know what I
mhm,
mean? And it goes through a series of transmutations, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. And what about like here's one for you. We probably we see all these new age stuff on YouTube, but some of them, um, ones that I was interested in is we're moving into the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
Now we can look at this in different ways. Is the fifth dimension basically what it means is we will see what is really out there as far as like yeah, there's higher dimensions in the fifth, we know that. But if you think of the fifth, the fifth, going from the fifth to the fifth, so some say that the rulers of this planet in the physical are in this fourth dimensional space.
Hmm.
If we get to the fifth, jumping from three to five, we're able to see through it all. When I say see through all their BS, basically,
Mm.
and
It's
just dealing with
heightened,
truth,
heightened,
ultimate truth, higher
it's
truth,
heightened
basically.
awareness, and it heightened awareness, heightened consciousness.
I'll call
Because
it a
just
higher
like
truth rather than just
higher
saying it,
truth,
it's all the truth. Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
higher truth, bro.
a
Because
higher truth. Yeah,
like the brother was saying, like what you said, Curtis, you said about don't want to lose the train of thought. We talked about
We were speaking
each
about the bacteria thing, and I was talking about like planets being
right,
alive and
right, yeah, and we
spinning.
were talking about consciousness and consciousness
Mm.
being life. Even your
Mm.
breath is consciousness because it says even in a lot of like religious text, the breath of life was blown into that person and
Mm.
became a living thing, a living man. So like I'm just looking on it to say, well, like you're talking about what did you say? Umberwelt.
Umwelt. Yeah, it's a
Sounds
German word. Yeah,
German. Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
German.
yeah. Umwelt.
Wunderbar.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at Umwelt, right, I'm saying to
Mm.
myself, okay, it's where your awareness is heightened, where
Mm.
you like your awareness of the qualities of life, the essence of life, the multi-diversity, you know what I mean?
Mm.
You're aware of in the sense of, like you said, oh, the ant. I wonder how the ant sees us
Mm.
as mountains and all this. That's a beautiful thing. But what's even more beautiful is if we had consciousness to work together like the ants, then the world would be a completely different place. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
Mm.
the ants have that unity. You know what I mean? Like I used to marvel at them actually as a
Mm.
child. 'Cause we
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
we didn't really have a lot of wildlife where we come from.
Mm.
the
So we used to
queen
like
ants,
dig up and look for ants.
the
The
queen ants,
ants and that
interesting.
just all of them are interesting,
Yeah,
in the sense of like when you see how they
mm,
move, right? Caravans of them carrying food, sugar, whatever, the way they just move military, it's
Mm.
it's it's something to behold, it's still a spectacle. You know what I mean?
They just figured out, right, that to keep the larvae in the right compartments in the nest, they use mathematics.
Hmm.
Yeah, they use mathematics to keep them
There
at the
is.
right distances where they get the right moisture and all that kind of thing.
Oh, that's amazing,
And
yeah.
and then there's this species of ants, because if an ant injures its leg or something, they've got this saliva thing that they can heal each other with.
That's right.
But there's one species of ant from Florida. Well, I think that the one that I know of is from Florida. And because they can't produce that saliva, they amputate broken
See it
legs.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, man,
yeah,
they
yeah.
amputate broken legs, bro. Like they've got doctors and nurses.
Yeah,
You get
well,
me?
I mean, if you think about it, right, everything that we have was
Mm.
observed in nature, in the
Oh,
same
for
way,
real?
everything, because we're observing nature, and we're our thoughts are getting regenerated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Heightened by
yeah,
that observation of nature. And then we
yeah,
put
yeah.
things together and we create things. And what we're
Mm.
creating, like for example, can you imagine seeing the birds build the nest?
Yeah, yeah,
They don't
yeah.
go to see a bank manager. They're not looking for a loan. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like it's like everything is like within nature, and then we
Mm,
observe it, and then we, share whatever, and maybe we become inspired and more creative, and that's
mm.
where manifestation, part of manifestation. That's not the only manifestation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Can I
but
can
this
I
is
throw?
interesting with the like you say with nature and observation.
Mm,
This is why I had the attraction to connect to these indigenous peoples.
mm.
Like I've always, we've all been younger. Remember 4 channels we had when we were younger? Four. So on those 4 channels, this is how we start. No internet, none of this other stuff. Look, we'd be watching Australian Aborigines. Sometimes he could come on. Native Americans,
Yeah, yeah.
Pacific Islanders, or like so. But it was only in like we only got like a small scope of it, but it was enough for us to
Mm,
be aware. But then all this internet and this comes out and all of that, and all different researchers like people like Dr. Renaud Rashidi, Clyde
mm,
Winters, and then certain other people who have the fascination and visiting them. So when I'm visiting them, what I've gathered is I'm on a time travel back in
mm.
time because that's what you're observing. You're observing a time machine, not just looking at them
Yeah,
like
man.
it's in present day. And yet they will adapt because of the government coming in trying to, they do the best they can. Where like
Yeah, man.
I'll give an example in Malaysia, in Thailand. Thailand there's only about 300 of these manual tribes left, and these are the people that went into the nighttime by myself into the jungle.
Mm,
Might have
mm.
took 7 hours, 2 different
Yeah, man.
buses, and I'm no silliness now, but there was no fear in me when I got on the bus, and I've got to get 2 different buses. There's something inside me that's I'm feeling like I'm getting closer to them,
Yeah,
and I'm
man.
trusting
Yeah,
this
man.
inner feeling. I'm
Of
not
course,
worried
bro.
about nothing.
Yeah, man.
I've even got my passport on me, which maybe people saying you shouldn't have, but it was
You
on
were
me.
enlightened. You had
Yeah,
extra photons, bro.
full of
You know what I
energy,
mean?
full of
I tell
spirit.
you. Yeah, 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 definitely,
And
bro.
then when you reach them, it's almost like they knew you were coming.
Mm.
And I don't mean
Mm,
going there with the tour bus with a
Yeah,
bunch of
man.
people. I'm talking about like making your own way there, which
Mm-hmm.
is totally different than if you go with like a tour, for example, because
Mm,
you've got
mm.
all these other people making their assumptions of
Of
what
course.
how they believe, what they think. But it's like, honest to God, it's like a time machine, and
mm,
it's a closest thing. What I found, especially the comparisons
Mm-hmm.
all the way in Africa, Maasai tribes,
Yeah, man.
Khoisan people, which is South Africa, all the way to Australian Aborigines.
Yeah, man.
And then we could speak on dreams, the meaning of our dreams. Not some
Mm.
dreams are just mythical and there's nothing to it, but then a lot of them, or some of them,
I think every dream has a message, bro.
every whether it's good or bad, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
and it's like where do we come from? Where do dreams come from? Do
yeah,
you know what I
mm,
mean? I think we're just like part of the reservoir of creation, bro. And them dreams are droplets. So, like,
mm,
for example, some dreams could be freak you out, some dreams
mm,
could scare you, but this is life. I remember one time, right? I was like working and I had a lot of like high risk people on my caseload. And I kept on having this reoccurring dream where I'm going into work, right? But I'm naked from the waist down, I'm naked, got no
mm,
pants on or nothing, right? I kept on having this reoccurring dream. And you know what it meant? Do you know what it was telling me? The dream.
mm.
Because I was anxious about high risk people on my caseload. It was cover your ass. Make sure you've done, I'm telling you, make sure you've done all your risk assessments. You've done all
Mm,
your KPIs. You know what I mean, bro? You
mm,
make documents everything. And then you don't feel exposed. Do you understand? So even some dreams like weird or whatever, but it's a message, bro. It's like an email. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's like a WhatsApp from a
Software.
different. I tell you, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Curtis.
Yo.
So yeah. So anything you want to add to this?
Yeah, I do want to add something
Yeah.
actually, right? You know this multiverse that's going on in Marvel and all of them.
Oh,
That's interesting.
yeah.
So when you see the diagram of it, it's like an Earth, then another Earth, and another Earth, going into infinity in the universe, right? I think no, it wouldn't work like that, right? This is what I think anyway, right? Is that so if there's another version of me that's a female and another different iteration on a planet that's Earth, but a different iteration of it. Do you know what I'm saying? And there's
Planet that must be planet transgender.
No, but I'm just saying, so say
Yeah,
I
I
wasn't
mean,
say in that
yeah,
world, I was a murderer or a scientist or
yeah,
whatever the hell
yeah,
it was, you know what I mean? And then there's infinite versions of yourself. No,
yeah.
really what it is if we come from the one thing, if we all come from the one thing,
Yes,
different iterations of it are going out there and evolving
absolutely,
into individual things.
absolutely,
Do you know what I
bro.
mean?
By
I
the way,
see that.
we will be also continuing. So continue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see
yeah,
that,
yeah.
right? I see that, bro, because like for example, um, even in the Indian mysteries, Brahma, right, was the creator of all. And I think it
Mm.
was Krishna. Krishna said, "Oh, but there are many Brahmas. Like you're
Mm.
not the only one." Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
And there's lots of those themes because if you think about it, so many things. If we just start the day a particular way, we take everything for granted, but
Mm.
any little change could create a different ripple.
Oh,
So
absolutely,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've always
Yeah. And with
Effect.
Hinduism,
absolutely, bro.
Hinduism as well, with that being the invasion of the aliens, and they decide to call themselves the Brahmins. But
Hmm.
Mm.
going back to the Vedic text, which
Mm,
predates all of that anyway, so
mm,
that's important.
hmm.
So to expand it as well, I don't believe that the is death, like we said before about energy and stuff. And when we say energy, some people use the word spirit. So as open-minded, I try to use the language of whoever I'm speaking to.
Mm,
So if you come from the scientific, I'll use the word energy more to you. I use the word spirit more, spirituality. And we can use other things. It's not, we're not limited. So the afterlife now. What's your view on the afterlife? The continuation. You see it as like some people say coming back to this earth, and if you do come back to this earth, it's a failure. You failed your mission.
Mm.
Some look at it as like
yeah.
also it's the heaven. It's the other. You know what I mean? So I just want to know what's your
I
views
just
on
think
these things anyway.
I just see it as life, bro.
Okay.
Like I don't even like because think about it. We say afterlife, but
Mm.
we never say before life, and
Yeah,
the,
yeah, yeah.
it's just life, bro. And like what I mean, we've manifested in many different forms, bro, on this
Mm.
earth and many other worlds. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And like, there's no failing, Dread, because every experience, even if you're living in one reality as a Ted Bundy type
Mm.
dude, right?
Mm.
There's look at the end of the day, it's not a good thing, but there's higher forces at work, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Well,
I'm
Mm,
just
that's
saying that we've experienced everything, and that's where non-judgmentality comes in.
yeah.
Mm.
Curtis.
Sorry, Curtis.
yeah. No, it's cool, man. I'm feeling it, bro.
Well, you see,
Yeah. So,
after or before, you can deal with any, because these
Mm,
are stuff that is a missing link.
mm,
then when they say you can't die in your dream, like if
Yeah,
you die in your dream, you die in reality, like Matrix, but those things like that. But like, so when I was 16, like I used to have these I used to have vivid dreams. It sort of like leaves you a bit when you're older, like remembering your dreams. It's easier when you're younger
mhm,
because you haven't got that much information in your brain. You get me?
yeah.
I was having this dream, yeah, and it was down at the Albert Dock, but it was all like ironclad, like the bridge and everything. The whole
mhm.
ground was like soldered. Do you know what I mean? And
Like an earlier time, like an earlier time.
no, like more futuristic, like as if I was on
Okay.
a like as if I was on a spaceship or something. But it was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Albert Dock, and then my cousin was messing around, and she rugby tackled me. Now, just before she did that, I'm looking in the water, and the water's space with stars in it, right? So she rugby tackles me. We both go into the water, and I'm in the water now, underwater, and there's like every time we move, like even when I go into the water, this blue light comes out, like ripples of blue light. So then I'm looking at two people drowning, and I'm thinking, okay, that's my cousin drowning. And who's that? And straight away, when I thought, who's that? I was dead. I was in the universe just floating in just like in this vast darkness. And there was these weird big like if someone with long hair, they were underwater. And if you magnified it, you know what I mean, they'd look like big like things floating like this. Right. And it was like a sort of it was like that, like big sort of massive structures, like probably as big as a galaxy. And each one of them had the fibers as if they've made like a rope or something
Shit,
coming
yeah.
down it, right? But only one on every one of these things, right? And there were loads of them, and they were like sort of waving like this, yeah, right? And my thought was like there was this light, like a sort of like a orangey red light, just down. Just one of the fibers was just light, and you've got to get into it. So I tried to get into it, then there was this like explosion, like popcorn goes from being neat to
Mhm.
and in my mind, I turned into this creature for a split second because I did it wrong. And then I tried again, and then I thought I've got to get into it.
Reformulated. That's where
Yeah,
the word
man.
reformulation. You know
Yeah,
what I
man.
You know,
So I'm.
we were talking about before about life forces, weren't we? Now, I'm
Mm,
interested in what your views are on this thing called what people call UFOs.
mm,
So, before we just dive into it, I want us to think about this because we have Hollywood. Hollywood paints all these images, ETs, and this is what they look like and stuff like that.
yeah.
Now, I know you've heard of a man called Anthony Browder.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I had his daughter on, Atlantis Browder. Interesting sister. Yeah, she's actually about the same age as me. And very interesting when I asked about the pyramids because I mean, imagine having a father like Anthony Browder,
I know,
you
I
know,
know. He
and
used to take
obviously,
her on the expeditions when she was young, you know. So she was
yeah,
getting it from the source, man. Yeah, yeah,
where it was harder for him. He didn't know all this when he was
yeah.
younger.
Exactly, exactly.
So what she said, yeah, I asked about the pyramids and I'm saying like, I'm trying to keep an open minded. I mean, how do you think they were built and stuff like that?
Mm.
I said, what do you think of when people say aliens? Now, when I say aliens, I don't mean Hollywood aliens. So she said that, well, we were the aliens. So she
The
basically
black
saying
aliens, bro. The black
that,
aliens.
so it made me think now that aliens can look just like us of
Well,
whatever
the
color.
word alien, look at the word alien, really, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
It just, like, in modern sense, it just means something that's foreign to you, something
Mm.
that's
Different.
strange and
Yeah.
unknown or different.
Mm.
But, like, really, when we're talking about higher force and what is life, and we accept everything, man. Do you
Mm.
know what I mean? Even, I'm not saying that I want a predator or an alien to come and get me from a Hollywood perspective,
The
yeah,
but,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but at the
Facebook
end,
guy.
yeah, at the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, this is what we were saying. There's
Mm.
many permutations of how life was seeded. It could have been
Mm.
seeded here. It could have been seeded in other planets and brought here, bro.
Mm.
I'm open-minded, bro, because this is where I get my creativity from. I don't
Okay.
get. I've tried wearing a psychological straitjacket. It's
You
too tight, bro. You know what I
know?
mean?
Yeah, man.
Gives me headaches. Gives me a
Yeah.
headache.
Can you care to say, well, what's your view on like things like UFOs? And let me add something to this. All
Yeah.
the people who seem to have these sightings. Now, me personally, maybe I'm not blessed enough to witness these. I've never seen a UFO. Well, I've never seen. I mean, I've seen things, but
I've seen
I,
them, man.
yeah,
I've
like I
seen.
say, I
I've
don't
seen them.
write nothing off. And sometimes I do believe some people make it up. Like for example, they always seem to be in the same places sometimes.
Around white neighborhoods.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
The ghetto.
That's the illegal aliens you're
You
talking
know
about.
me. You know me.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
me.
So, what I just interesting, like, what do you think of? I mean, people talk
I
about this
like
mothership and all this one.
I like what listen. I like what it comes back to what Atlantis said to you. You said what you said. What do you think about all this alien? And she said, "Well, we were the aliens
Yeah,
in the sense of like." So she's open. She must be open to the fact that we're interconnected on another world, the other dimension, or we've actually come here from other land, other planets, whatever. Because anything's possible, bro. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I would say that like everything that we've been taught and everything that we've had to research for ourselves. Do you know what I mean?
mm.
It's like a bit of a dichotomy sometimes, you know what I mean? And like I respect what you're doing, bro, because I do respect your podcast and everything. I
Oh,
respect
bless.
the fact that you work with other young people, well, younger than me, Curtis and other people, and you invite people to share these views, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's like as I said, right, I appreciate belief systems, but I don't think a belief system should be worn forever and ever and ever. I think it's a wonderful garment, but you don't have to wear
mm.
it forever. And at some point, you need to put on the gowns of knowledge. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be ashamed to say, I don't really know. I haven't
Mm.
really thought about it. Let me have a little think and I'll get back to you. Because we
Mm.
don't we don't need to be egotistic. We're just sharing info.
do you think it's
Yeah.
the
We don't need to
metaphors?
fight.
A lot
Yeah.
of metaphors in religion and in Kemet. Now, when you look at some of the scholars and of Kemet, some of them just see like you see you've got two types of researchers. What I find, yeah, you've got the people who just study from like what they feel they can prove, like the science, carbon dating, and certain
Mm.
things. But then you got people who are deep into the spirituality
Hmm.
and harnessing the energy. They might see things differently than how like the average scholar sees it. You
Mm.
know, like a shaman, for example.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
where like a whole nother. It's like they're in a whole nother realm. Totally out of this material world. You know what I'm saying? So
I think
anyway,
I
Yeah.
think I think that what you're saying is true because I think that no one has to say that the pinnacle of all knowledge is an educational institution. Do you know
yeah,
what I
Mm.
mean? And sometimes you have to go back a bush to get the real roots. So,
mm,
the ancient knowledge, a lot of it is being hidden from us, and even the remnants of the oral traditions, a lot of what stuff that our grandparents and great grandparents knew has been lost. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Even when it comes to herbs and things like that, you know what I mean? And natural medicines and things, you know? That's
Yeah.
the
yeah,
Mm.
type of thing that we have to be trying to get back to, bro. To
yeah.
be honest with you. Yeah, man.
What's your view, Curtis, on this?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's amazing. I just think it's like humanity, like to be a human. All
Hugh.
in all, it is like it's an amazing experience, just because we're so dynamic and
Yeah, man.
we're amazing survivors. Like weight for weight, we're one of the lamest physical beings on the planet. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's some things that are like a blob floating around in the ocean and things
Mhm.
like that that might not be having that weight of time, but
Yeah, yeah.
maybe it is. Maybe it's philosophizing over something itself. Do you know what I'm saying? But
Adaptability in it, bro.
yeah, but
That's
but
yeah,
Adaptability, man.
but yeah. So I just think, like, especially being 51. Do you know what I mean? I just feel like, wow, being here a long time. I've seen a lot of things. I've got a very accurate memory going back to when I was like three and a half. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And it's just like, wow, life's just going on and on and on and on and on and on and on.
Yeah,
Do you
yeah.
know what I'm saying? And I give thanks for that. But as
Me-
far as the mysteries are concerned, like afterlife and before life, like you were saying, well, I don't know, and my jury's out on that one because I
That's
just,
cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah.
But
know, each their own, of course. Mm,
I wanna ask, right? Have you
Mm,
ever, when you were like, because you recounted like three and a half, like
mm,
that was like a kind of the beginning of the conscious awareness on that level to know that you're in this world and thing, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
did you ever have any like strange memories or dreams or anything of anything other than this world?
Yeah, I used to get strange. I was in there, Colin Mendy.
I know that Colomendy, yeah,
I was
man.
I was in Glenallen there, yeah. Right,
Yeah,
that was my secondary school, and we had like these we had these bed spaces. It was like two, three, a window and two
yeah,
walls, like a toilet cubicle without the door, but bigger with a
yeah,
bed in
yeah.
and all that and a wardrobe. Anyway, we'd like after lights out, you're supposed to be quiet and all that and da 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 da. So I've just fell asleep. This is when I was 15. I fell asleep and I had this crazy weird dream. It was just a silly dream, like comical. And I woke up laughing, and then the guy from the bed space next to me had a quilt around him, right, and walked past my bed space into my mate's bed space, right? And then I woke up and I said, "That's mad, I've just had a weird dream." He got out of bed with the quilt around him and walked
Hmm.
past me to my mate's bed space next to mine.
Yeah,
So everyone used to like sit on each other's beds and chat and
yeah,
eat
yeah.
the tuck because we used to have a tuck shop and all
Yeah,
that.
man.
And so I literally saw the same thing happen twice, bro.
Shit,
Once in
there,
my
bro.
dream, and the weird thing is, it's a paradox, isn't it? It's one of those time paradoxes because if I wouldn't have said, "Wow," would he have walked past? Do you
Yeah,
know what I
which come
mean?
first? Like, which come first,
Yeah,
them thing?
it's like one of them time
Yeah,
paradoxes you get me.
yeah.
You're thinking, "Wow, I manifested that happening by having a dream of it happening."
I think it's like a wonderful metaphor for a life
Mm.
being lived before the life that we're living now.
Yeah, like a precursor, you might want
Oh,
to call it something like that. Yeah,
isn't it though? You know what I
yeah,
mean, bro?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's amazing, man. What do
yeah. It
you
is.
reckon, James? I mean, you kind of headed it. Like, we know that energy cannot die, and we know that we are energy. Do you
Mm.
know what I mean? And even the physicality of it has to
Yeah,
go back to Mother Earth and regenerate. And our
yeah.
spirit, that light, you know what I mean,
Mm.
bro?
Well, you
That
know what?
energy.
You see, like Buddhism, for example, there's about 17 different sects of Buddhism. So sometimes when you see too many different sects, like I try to, one thing that always seems to stand out is that some Buddhists say they can come back as a bee, a bird.
Mm.
Basically, what they're saying is that your energy can manifest into anything,
Mm,
you know. So
mm.
now I compare that to Africa and other indigenous peoples. They always spoke on more so coming back into the ancestors. When we
Mm.
say the ancestors, it doesn't mean that it's going to look exactly like how we look, but you could be your great grandchildren, or it doesn't even have to be your
It's like
grandchildren. It could
it's
even
like D,
be your
D,
nephews, your nieces, or anyone. And
DNA ancestors, isn't it? It's like
yeah,
it's referring to that lineage heritage. It's
yeah,
in her
yeah.
heritage, you know what I mean, bro? Through
Seen
the
the movie
female
Bill and
line.
Ted? Have you seen the movie Bill and Ted? Bill and
Yeah,
Ted's
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Bogus Journey?
yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
And there's
yeah,
about
yeah,
two
yeah.
different, the part
Where
where
they cheated death and
yeah,
Yeah.
again.
yeah. So when they die, yeah, they die.
You know what I
Mm.
mean, bro?
Then there's this other imitation Bill and Ted, and the bad.
Yeah.
So now his father is talking in a room, classroom or something, and then he's able to go into his father's ear. He's like he just somehow gets his ear. So basically, never mind just going in your ear. The spirit is coming into him. Now, what he's trying to say, he speaks through his father, basically. So let's just say, for example, now, so are all our thoughts our own?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
How can
Mm.
you identify your thoughts
Yeah.
and what's kind of being fed into you? I don't mean this media crap and all this distractions and all that stuff. I'm talking about the outside, what we call
Mm.
entities.
Mm.
Influences, isn't it?
Yeah. And there's times where some people are really in tune. And it's back to what you said before about what we're eating, our health. We're not getting the best herbs or we're not getting the
Mm.
best vegetation. It's everything is
Processed.
processed,
Oh,
modified.
hybridized, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
modified. Yeah.
So to live the purest way, I mean, like, I don't know if you ever practice fasting, any of you.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah, man.
Fasting's
Yeah.
really good for you,
Mm.
cleansing yourself,
Yeah,
you
man.
know, that's why I do like some things about some religions about fasting. I definitely can. I think that's brilliant. Now that's the same as the earth. You know, like growing crops all the time. You have to let it rest sometime. You can't just keep growing and
I'm telling
growing.
you, damage the soil, man.
And that's you're in tune with nature, where
Mm-hmm.
you're looking at the earth no different than yourself, the
Mm-hmm.
same as an animal or any living thing.
We used to get buried back into the earth in a fetal position because we
Yeah,
were returning back to the womb of Mother Earth. We had
yeah.
a different relationship.
Mm.
Now everything has been kind of like modernized or commercialized, you know what I mean? It
Systemized, yeah,
systemized.
systemized,
We can't
yeah,
even
yeah.
enjoy the beauty of the trees, what few trees are left.
Yeah.
We can if you're in the mind of being
This
observant
is
to those
this is what I
things.
mean. Yeah, this is what
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah,
most people just ignore it and don't really
Mm,
appreciate it. You know what I mean? But
that's right.
everyone used to call me a nature boy when I was
Yeah, yeah.
like 19 or whatever. You know what I mean?
For
an
real, brother.
appreciation for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
appreciation. Yeah.
yeah, man, because I was an ornithologist. You know what I mean? I knew like the
Is
nest of
that
the bird.
birds? Birds,
Yeah,
man.
man, the nest of
Respect,
the
bro.
bird, the eggs of the bird, and everything, the sound of
Nice.
it. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was
Mm.
always sitting there, and this was my relationship with God as well, right? Because I used to sit there, right, still as a post, bro, and even, whether this was in Formby, Sefton Park, Otterspool, didn't anywhere where there was nature. I'd be looking under stones for like lizards and this, that, and the other, and I'd
Hmm.
go in the water and catch frogs and all things like that. So I was just completely obsessed with it. You know what I mean?
See,
But I'd sit there. And I burnt off flat down by accident when I was a kid, right? And it was an
well,
accident. I was playing with fire. I've always woken up like before everybody. So everyone was asleep and I was playing with fire by the fire, man. Because you know when you get plastic and you're dripping, you go, choo,
burning
choo,
it.
choo.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like Star Wars, man. Do you know what I mean? So I used to get, and then I heard someone make a noise. So I threw me little pen that I used to, one of those little bookies pens. That's what I used to put it in the
Yeah,
fire. Must
yeah.
have been people. And then I heard a noise, so I stashed it behind the couch.
Oh,
And
fucking hell.
in
It
them
went
days,
on fire.
wood chip
The foam.
wallpaper.
Yeah, the
You
foam.
started getting no wood chip, with the little wood chips in it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And they started using plastic instead of wood. So where I put it behind the couch, right, the whole of the wallpaper and the fires just like honestly, it just went up
You're
in
lying.
flames, bro. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
yeah, so it was like so we ended up moving to a hostel on a Walton Road, right? And in the back of there was this garden that was like a little forest, bro. And I used to see, even though I saw the woodpecker for the first time and all the birds that I knew about and all that, right? And then yeah, so I used to stand there thinking, even though I knew that there's no hummingbirds in this country, I was thinking, I used to go, please God, please, if I stay still and I don't startle any of these birds or anything, I want to see a hummingbird. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's what I was like, you know what I mean? I used to go, please let me see what is it, a great crested newt. Do you know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
And things like that, because I was just into all that, because I've always had a relationship with nature. If you've got a
Yeah, man.
relationship with nature, you've got a relationship with God.
Mm.
That's right,
That's
that man. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that one.
man.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
a true one.
seeing God through
yeah,
nature,
yeah, man. Through the
totally,
making,
totally.
yeah.
And ain't no one can, people make up all images of God, and no one's
Big
actually
beady.
physically seen it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Big,
people can make the God their own color and
No,
see
yeah.
God
you
through
see,
themselves. And
you see the Most
yeah,
High in creation and in the whole of nature, bro. We
yeah,
see
Mm,
it when we look when I'm looking at you and you look at me. We see it. We
yeah,
see it
mm,
in the cat and the cow. We see it in the grass that the cow's eating. You know what I'm saying, bro?
yeah.
Yeah, we're
yeah, yeah.
surrounded by
Well,
it,
like the
man.
Maasai tribes, they always spoke on praying on a mountain. And praying on a mountain, like you are closer to what you call God or
Hmm.
Creator.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And people go to mosques, churches. You could even say
Hmm.
even worshiping in a pyramid, but these are
Mm,
all man-made buildings.
Hmm.
You know, so whether you believe man built them or not. But what I'm saying is the true nature, what was here
Hmm.
and always has
mm.
been here as far as we've been here. So
Yeah,
yeah. And now religion.
definitely,
Now I want
bro.
to know what your view is on
Mountains are
religion.
always synonymous
Well,
with religions, brethren.
Oh,
mm,
yeah,
Mountains,
man.
have you
Brilliant.
noticed? Mountains are
Yeah.
always featured in religions because what you
Mm,
yeah,
say, that lofty height,
yeah,
and it's so poignant and poetical, climbing mountains and clearing obstacles and all that. You know what I mean? Yeah,
yeah,
man. It
yeah.
resonates with people in it. You know what I
Definitely,
mean?
definitely does. But that's what I'm saying. It's like there's also what I was studying something one time about mastery. When people say I have mastered something,
Mhm.
now
Yeah.
mastering life, I was it was basically saying that you might have to come back to this earth several
Mhm.
times in order to master something. Sometimes it's one lifetime, well, what we call a lifetime, what
Mhm.
people call a lifetime. You live to 50, live to 60, live to 70, 80, boom, that's it. So it's all a journey, and like some people learn very late. Some people can learn earlier than others,
Mhm.
and it's all a journey. And like you say, just there is no death, and the energy is, look at the language of like, how can I put it? Mathematics is the
Mhm.
first language before like what we call language. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
there's many different languages, and I don't mean languages as in linguistics.
Well,
I know.
even dancing was originally a language.
The
Do you know what I
rhythm,
mean? Playing the drums is a language.
yeah,
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
flowing
Yeah.
with the rhythm. The rhythm is so important. Look at the
Hmm.
river when it flows.
Yeah,
Sorry, can
man.
I just make an interjection? No, because
Please.
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
there on no, because you're
yeah.
there on that beach, right? It just triggered something in me because remember the podcast when I came to the studio back in COVID days and all that, and we were talking about those tribes, and I've wanted to correct this, right? Because I was calling them the Seminolese. You know that John guy, the half wasn't he half Chinese American? I think he
John?
was. Yeah, John something his name was, and he went out and he paid these fishermen because it's illegal. You know the
Hmm.
Andaman Islands.
Yeah, yeah, the Andamans.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So so I was calling them the Seminolese, the Sentinelese, Sentinel
See.
Island.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I just wanted to correct that one because I've been sitting there
You're
watching the
not talking
podcast
about the
thinking,
guy who got killed by them. Is that
yeah,
you mean?
and he went missing, man. Yeah,
Well,
he took a Bible and he put an arrow in it, didn't he? And then
yeah, well,
put arrows in him.
them things happen for the reason. He's
Yeah,
gone
man,
there
because yeah,
with
with
views. He
disease.
said something like that. The last place the devil is in the Andaman Islands or the Senegalese Islands. So
Yeah, yeah,
he's gone
yeah,
there with a real negative energy,
yeah.
even though he's
He's got
carrying the Bible or not. He's
yeah.
gone there. Don't try to go there and impose
Oh,
what has been imposed on you.
was
Yeah,
he the guy
Yeah,
that got killed by some
yeah, yeah,
that's the
ditches?
one.
yeah, man.
Well,
With
he was
arrows.
for. I think he was force ripe. You know what I mean? Force
Mm.
ripe. Like and it was a media campaign. I mean,
Yeah.
and when he went down there, they let him get killed, bro.
Mm.
Well, what it is, yeah, you
It
need
was, it
permission to
was. It was
go.
like,
You
I'm a
you need
pastor, get
permission.
me out of here.
He didn't. He did.
You need permission to go there. But what you can do, you can find a local fisherman who's not
Mhm.
interested in permission. You give him a
Yeah,
little bit of change.
exactly.
He'll take
There's
it over
nothing
there.
wrong.
But it's on
You know
you.
what,
It's on
Jay?
you.
There's nothing wrong with him wanting to preach anything. You know where he went
Mm.
wrong was he didn't want to show the people a respect for their thing.
Mm.
You
Yeah,
come in
because
Yeah.
with your thing,
they
but
don't
you
want
know respect
small.
the people's thing.
Yeah, they don't
What's
want
that all
small.
about?
They don't want smallpox to come out in there and all
You know
that.
what I
And,
mean?
do you know what I mean? The common
Yeah,
cold or COVID or
you
whatever. They
know
don't
what I
want
mean?
none of that. It's all
And he hasn't
everything.
analysed the history of when the
They've been
British went
there.
there
Yeah,
in the 1800s.
Yeah, yeah.
60 plus
When
thousand years ago, man. They've got
when the
their different
first
islands.
time
It's true.
they witnessed what a gun was,
Mm.
when some of the Andaman was shot in the late, I don't know the late 1800s, but it's in the 1800s anyway, when the
Mm.
British entered that island and shot
Mm.
a few people. So that from that time, outsiders they're very uncomfortable with,
Yeah,
especially the
yeah.
ones who live in
But
the
for every good
forest.
reason, man. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
wisdom. You know what I
So
mean?
you've got to know what you're going into. And like I say, I consider myself as a free spirit. So when I
Mm.
connect to any of these indigenous groups anywhere,
Mhm.
I'm coming in like it doesn't mean I have to drink what they drink and eat what they do. And
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
people feel they've got to prove a point on these
Yeah,
like island shows. You know what I mean, isn't it? They
yeah.
start like jumping in with snakes and doing things to like say, well, I'm a man now or something, or
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You haven't got to prove nothing. Go there, respect, and what you relate to, what you're comfortable with.
yeah, man.
You don't have to take psychedelics unless you want to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You don't have to be initiated unless you want to.
yeah, man.
yeah, for
You
real.
know what I'm saying? Because
Uh,
some rituals, they might not be for you,
Yeah, yeah.
but then some rituals might be for you.
For real,
have you
bro.
seen that iboga? The iboga, it's like a root, but it's got like it's got like bark on it, and that's what they have in parts of Africa. And that's a psychedelic, and it's similar to the way they describe it is very similar to when people take ayahuasca. They
Okay.
like they say they
Interesting.
say they
Yeah.
say it's the death of your ego. And
Hmm.
do you know what they use it for, right? And this is when I first came across it. Some guy who used to be a journalist, that used to be a British journalist, and he became a heroin addict, and he was like just living a dingy life. And so he went to this sort of hippie guy who gave him that abode, and he fed it to him for 2 days, I think it was, man. It's like this was with this bitter white sort of like a tuber, like a big tuber.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And they say that like it's the death of your ego, man. Like your consciousness is there, and you go on this sort of like you just feel at one, and everyone has the
Hmm.
same experience with it, man. And
Shit there,
they do
bro.
ceremonies and they swirl fire around you when you do the ceremony, so that's to help you get the sort of
Hmm.
hallucinations into the
Hmm.
spirit realm and the
Yeah,
ancestors, man.
man. The
Well,
light.
Amazing,
these
man. You know what I
people,
mean?
what it is with these people, when you're
Mm.
doing ritual, you
Mm.
have to have a good idea of what is the outcome of the ritual.
Yeah, yeah, for
And a
real.
lot of people, like the new age type of mentality, they don't know the outcome. So they're doing things just to fit in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they
You
can
know what I
go,
mean?
yeah, man, we went out to the Brazil and we went to the
Yeah.
ayahuasca. Dude.
Observe when you go somewhere, you're not going there to try to fit in
Yeah,
because
yeah.
who
That,
are you?
that's
Who are you?
That's an initiation. That's an initiation
Hmm.
ceremony. That in
Yeah,
all countries.
yeah,
Peyote the same in America. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Peyote, iboga, ayahuasca, all for the same purposes, all used in the same way. They always have fire. They always have
yeah,
like
yeah.
somebody doing incantations vocally and
Yeah,
stuff
Mm,
man.
to guide them, and so they don't get lost, so your soul doesn't like leave your body and just like
yeah,
go out there and
interesting.
get lost. You get me? They're all similar, all similar.
Burials, you brought up burials before, Raz. Very important.
Mm.
I've actually been like really, when we all gotta go one day, right? And I think it's important for people to decide how you want to get buried.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
Because a lot of people, I don't want to think of this, but to be honest, I've already decided anyway. I'm looking at Earth right now, and I'm looking at like where we are. I probably would get a Muslim burial, and I'll
Mm.
give an example.
Cause clean and quick.
Yes, yeah, quick, very quick, and going back to the Earth. I don't
Hmm.
want to be trapped in a coffin
I
because
know.
there's
Mm.
different theories of being trapped in a coffin. Your soul's kind of trapped. I mean, a lot of indigenous people have told me about this. It's like your soul being trapped. Plus,
Mm.
as well, your organs are being, they're taking all your organs out and taking your heart and all this nonsense. So I think like the closest thing to what we get indigenous is a Muslim burial. And why I said that, it's easier to do in we are where we are living right now. So I'm not sure how the Orthodox do it. I'm not
Mm.
sure the Orthodox way, but I think people have to really think about it. Some people say they want to get cremated, and that's like a Viking thing. Also, the Hindus
Hmm.
started doing that, but it wasn't the earliest burials of the Hindus. It's when you seen the alien invasion come, and a lot of things started to change. So you've got to really think about these things. It's not nice to think about it, but
Mm.
it's good to think about it.
It's funny in it though, because like, like in the English version, King James, whatever, talk about ashes to ashes, dust
Mm.
unto dust.
Mm,
I'll be honest with you, bro. I think how people would like to go out, it's entirely up to them. But
yeah,
Mm.
I wouldn't have a thing where I'd say, you know, people shouldn't get cremated or whatever. I think it's up to them.
Oh,
You
your
know what I
choice,
mean?
yeah,
I think
yeah,
the end result is all one and the same. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean? But yeah,
If we
it's
just
well,
interject, and I'll bring you back
yeah,
in a sec. I'm just going to
yeah,
interject.
yes,
When people say they want to decremate them because it's cheaper,
yeah. Of
do
course,
you understand? So
it is. It's
this is
half the
why I'm saying
price.
people need to think.
It's like you're in Tesco's and you're getting 2 for 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
well, there's a
know,
cooperative in it, cooperative funeral
you
service,
know what I
little
mean?
co-op shop. Yeah, man. Yeah.
No,
it
but
is.
I'll be honest with you. There's been a lot of death around, man.
Yeah,
Right? A lot, like we've all been around a lot of that, and it's like you have to think about your own passing.
Mm.
And one of the biggest things for me is not so much about how I'm buried; it's about what type of legacy and what can I leave for the youths after
yeah,
me.
Yeah, man.
You
yeah,
know what I mean? Because I don't want to leave a struggle for them. You know what I
Yeah, you
yeah.
mean,
want to make
bro?
a contribution, don't you,
That's
man?
right.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
what's
man.
important. Yeah, you want to
very
make a
important. That
contribution.
Mm,
definitely,
you know what I mean, bro?
definitely.
Mm.
Well, this has been a great discussion.
Mm,
Coming near the end and that, but like I say, the topic was is where did we come from, and also we've added a lot of things. Is
Mm.
anything else you want to add to this? Feel free to do now.
I like where Curtis said the stars and the planets, they're all living beings. And I think like we can say we come from the stars. I think Atlantis Browder, Tony's daughter, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
Said when you was talking about aliens, she said, "Where are the aliens?" And I
Mm.
love how everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, you
man,
little
for
take
real.
little bits of what we've said, and it's all been, and not once have we said, "No, kid, that it's not like that, lad."
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. None of that.
Yeah.
You
None of
know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah. With the
Yeah,
right
man.
guest on, you can make anything possible.
You know what I mean,
Yeah,
bro?
for
It
real.
is. And then we all sometimes good to have your mind picked and you pick other people's minds because
For
sometimes
real,
people can
bro.
make you realize things what you might not have
Mm.
you haven't fully understood it in a way. Like sometimes people are better explaining different things,
Mm.
you
On
For
know.
real, bro.
just on the other side, on Thursday, I'm
Yes.
doing some teacher training in Wilton Primary School.
Nice one, bro.
And it's just to
Yeah.
teach the teachers how to understand diversity, like,
Yeah,
obviously
man.
racial diversity and cultural diversity.
Yeah.
And there's one thing I just want to leave on it, because I've got this thing called Great Means Eight. It's sort of, I do it with the djembe. And I just want to tell you a little bit of it. It goes, if you understand history and the basic laws of right, sorry, if you understand history and the basic laws of biology, then you will see that I am you as I can see that you are me. If you can multiply by two, skin and bone, you will see through. Then you'll see that you is me, you are me, as I can see that I am you. Because every person in every land comes from one woman and one man, and each of them was made by two. That's four people that created you. Four grandparents, two made mum and two made dad. That's the son. So when you call grandparents great, always remember that great means eight.
Nice one,
So
bro.
when someone says Danny Dyer is related to royalty, everybody's related to royalty because chiefs, chieftains, kings, queens, all that, all had the means to procreate.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They had the best food and everything. They were looked after. Do you know what I'm saying? And then when people talk about slavery, I say, listen, everybody's got slave ancestry because slavery is a
Hmm.
form of bullying, and bullying
Yeah,
is an
man.
easy thing to do. It's an
Yeah.
easy thing to do for
Yeah.
lazy people who don't want to get up that ass and do their own work. So
That's
I'm gonna
it,
go and
man.
I'm gonna talk to the teachers about that on Thursday, man. You know what I mean?
I
Look
give
good.
Nice
thanks to
one,
you.
bro.
I give thanks to you both, though. This is James Bone Discovering, dedicated to
Yeah.
original peoples, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
man.
Pleasure to be here always,
Yeah,
you know.
brothers. Yeah, man. It's
Maybe
been
Respect
next time.
Curtis.
yeah,
Maybe
man. It's
next
been
time we'll do another topic, and it
Yeah,
will be
man.
deep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, man,
man.
for
We'll
real.
we'll keep it.